lady to see you, sir. Thank you, miss.
Don't get up.
Never let it be said that Philip Royce is not a gentleman. I am afraid, dear lady, you have the advantage of me.
My name is Claire Harris.
And what blood-sucking impresario do you represent? You are not a theatrical agent?
Hardly.
I'm afraid I've made a horrible mistake. But then I make so many.
You must run in the family. That is your daughter, I believe. I don't think you know the young man. His name is Johnny Douglas. At least that's what he's calling himself now. He makes a living promoting rich girls.
Rest assured, I shall give this my immediate attention.
Why bother? Suppose you find out I'm telling the truth. What difference would it make?
I'd kill him.
No visitor should miss Stratford-on-Avon, home of England's greatest poet.
What's Shakespeare got to do with criminology, anyway?
Shakespeare was a great student of human nature.
So what?
A very wise man said, study of nature much more important than study of fingerprinting.
Who said that?
Charlie Chan. Answer, please.
Okay, Pop. Hello.
Mr. Chan?
Yes.
I pictured a somewhat older gentleman.
Like this, perhaps? I am Charlie Chan. This is my number one son, Barry.
This is a rare honor, Mr. Chan. I've heard so much about you.
You are most kind. Please sit down.
Thank you.
I suppose I should begin by introducing myself. I'm the Earl of Latham.
I bet you're with the Foreign Office.
I'd rather not discuss that, if you don't mind.
May I ask, how can humble self be of service?
May I speak frankly?
Of course.
This is a matter of the utmost delicacy. We are interested in a man named John Douglas. I should like a complete dossier on his background.
Then why not use facilities of Scotland Yard?
Well, naturally, I have my reasons.
Perhaps for same reasons you claim to be Earl of Latham, yet cufflinks are marked P.R. Philip Royce?
You know my name?
Unfortunately, do not claim psychic powers. Saw you in performance of Hamlet many years ago.
And you remembered Philip Royce.
Impossible to forget great artistic achievement. You took beautiful words and made a prince come alive.
Thank you. But I'm virtually penniless, Mr. Chan. I haven't worked for years.
Please do not worry about my fee. Have already been paid. Like lingering scent of violets, you have given much pleasure.
You're very kind.
Now, your interest in Mr. Douglas? This is the man.
Yes.
Who's the girl?
My daughter, Barbara.
Very pretty.
Her mother was Nora Harley, the only child of Sir William Harley.
The car manufacturer?
We met while I was on tour. 2 days later, we were married. I was so much in love, I never even realized who she was. You don't believe me? After her family entered the picture, Nora didn't believe it either. She kept torturing herself till the day she died, that I only married her for her money.
And daughter was brought up with the same idea?
Yes. I must admit I played the part. The first of every month I receive a check, most of which goes for whiskey. But this morning I learned she was involved with this chap, Johnny Douglas. I've been told he's a swindler.
Who was bearer of information?
A young lady named Claire Harris.
And you wish me to investigate?
I'd be grateful. I've never done anything for Barbara. Perhaps this is the opportunity I've hoped for.
Role of father very difficult to play without great preparation.
That's why I need help.
But sometimes cracked boat when in middle of river is too late to stop leak. However, we shall see.
Isn't it lovely, Johnny? Would you like to hear a secret? For the first time in my life, I'm truly happy. You see, I've never known anyone like you before.
Yes, I'm sure. Listen, Bob.
All the other men were so slick. Everything they did seemed to have a purpose. They were prospecting for gold, even my own father.
What makes you think I'm any different? How do you know I'm not after your money? How do you know? Have you any idea how I earn my living?
Yes, of course. You're an architect.
I'm an architect. Doesn't it strike you as strange that...
I love you, Johnny. Oh, I know that a well-brought-up young lady doesn't say that until the gentleman's committed himself first. You see.
Sure you won't join me?
Positive.
How are you doing with Barbara?
None of your business.
But you forget, sweetie, it is my business. I introduced it to you. You know the deal. I set him up, you knock him down.
I've told you we're not taking this girl.
You told me, but I'm not buying it. I can't quite get at the back of this. Don't tell me you've fallen for her.
I'm not telling you anything.
This goes deeper than business. You know how I feel about you.
Sure.
That's right. Just another sucker. Isn't it a riot?
Look, Claire, let's just forget it. These things happen. There's nothing anybody can do about it.
You know I'm crazy about you. Ever since that first day in Los Angeles.
It's no use. We've already had this out. You got me into this racket. But I tell you, we're all washed up now.
You can't just throw away all there is between us as if it had never been.
I'm in love with this girl. It's the first decent emotion I've ever felt in my life. And I don't intend to let you or anybody else interfere.
Wait. Johnny, I'm warning you. If I can't have you, nobody will. Johnny!
Miss Harris?
Yes?
My name is Charlie Chan.
What do you want?
Would request pleasure of a few moments of your time.
Why not?
Thank you. Oh, please excuse omission. My number one son.
How do you do?
Not so well, thanks. Can I offer you gentlemen a drink?
Wise man once said, drink wine when in proper mood. Sing loud in suitable location. I come to ask questions.
Questions?
About Mr. Douglas.
Well, you just missed him.
Very unfortunate.
You're not kidding me. You're a detective. Well, if you think you're getting anything out of me, you got another guess coming. Besides, we're in the clear. The Morgan girl didn't file any complaint.
No?
She gave Johnny those bonds as a gift. Nobody twisted her arm.
But
what? Suppose he did say his name was Duncan. What does that prove?
I'm very grateful, Miss Harris. No more questions.
You leaving already?
Would be exceedingly foolish to seek further when pot of gold has been found at foot of rainbow. You have been most helpful. Good day.
I beg your pardon, miss. You have a visitor.
Mr. Douglas?
No, Mr. Royce.
Oh. All right, Helen, show him in.
Good morning, my dear. I imagine you're surprised to see me.
Yes, I am surprised. What is it they say about the bad penny?
Well, you don't seem too annoyed.
I guess I'm too happy. Would you care for a whiskey?
Hmm?
I'm full of surprises, aren't I?
No, thanks. I can provide a surprise myself on occasion. I must admit, this is rather embarrassing. I haven't been much of a parent, have I?
No.
I know what you think, but if you'd only try to believe that when I met your mother...
Please don't.
I'd like you to know the true story.
I do already. Still, that's no reason for us to behave like mortal enemies, is it?
I suppose I should be satisfied with that. I imagine you're wondering why I dropped in.
I assumed you couldn't wait for the first of the month. I'll just get my checkbook.
You've been seeing a chap named Johnny Douglas. He's no good, Barbara. I had him investigated.
How dare you?
He's made a career out of exploiting rich girls.
That's not true.
This is a report on his activities. It's been checked with Scotland Yard. I'm sorry.
You're sorry. You did it deliberately. You wanted to hurt me.
No.
You couldn't bear to see me happy.
You're wrong.
You wanted to ruin my life as you ruined my mother's. Well, for your information, I'm going to marry Johnny.
You're making a terrible mistake.
If I am, it's my own. Now get out.
Barbara, please.
Get out. I never want to see you again.
Still worried about that Royce character, Pop?
When water is muddy, very difficult to perceive nature of fish.
Oh, it isn't too difficult. Want to know how I peg him?
Trying to stop number one son when he desires to speak is like holding back ocean with small sponge.
Well, the way I see it, Royce is a phony. I spotted him the minute he stepped in that door.
Charlie Chan speaking.
This is Philip Royce, Mr. Chan.
Oh, Mr. Royce.
I'm sorry to trouble you, but I need advice. I've arranged a meeting with Johnny Douglas.
I'm afraid that was most unwise. Where does meeting take place?
He's coming here. I feel that when he learns what I intend to do... Will you hold on for a second? There's someone at the door. Douglas, you're early. I suppose you'd better come in. Douglas, put that away. What are you doing? No, don't shoot. I'll tell Barbara that I lied. I'll tell her that it was all a... Mr. Royce. Mr. Royce.
Let us hope only thing dead is telephone. Men live together like birds in the woods. But when death comes, each takes his own flight.
Expect you're right, Mr. Chan. Not much mystery about the way this one took flight.
Except who killed him.
Well, Douglas, of course. You heard everything on the telephone.
Not everything.
Still, it's clear enough what happened. Shot at close range. Murderer takes the weapon with him, makes his exit through the unlocked door.
Or perhaps through open window.
4 stories high, with a water tank underneath. He'd have made a big splash.
It's pretty obvious he left by the door, Pop.
The obvious and truth rarely identical. Very violent blow was struck on wall.
Could have happened any time. This room hasn't been cleaned recently. Well, Mr. Chan, have you seen everything you want to see?
Yes, most grateful, Inspector.
Right, I'll put out a call to have Mr. Douglas picked up.
On what motive?
Well, Douglas was a con man. I think we'll find that Mr. Royce was trying to protect his daughter.
Inspector, no greater pleasure than agreeing with friend's opinion.
Hello, darling.
Good morning. Would you, like some coffee?
No, thanks. Barbara, I want to talk to you.
I'm sorry to disturb you, Miss Royce. I'm Inspector Duff of Scotland Yard. This is Mr. Chan.
What can I do for you, gentlemen?
It is most regrettable we are bearers of unhappy tidings. However, delay does not alter bad news.
What is it? Tell me.
It's your father, Miss Royce. He's been murdered.
No, he can't be. I saw him yesterday.
He was killed last night.
You must be wrong. He was weak. He drank too much, but that's the worst you can say of him. Why should anyone want to kill him?
You're Mr. Douglas, aren't you?
Yes?
Did you know Mr. Royce?
No, I've never met him.
Then what were you doing in his flat last night?
Are you crazy?
You were overheard by Mr. Chan here when you shot him. You should have hung up the telephone first.
This is insane. You don't believe I did it, Bob?
We were never very close, but he was my father. And you killed him. You killed him because you were afraid he might tell me the truth about you.
No, Bob. telling you for the last time I didn't kill him. I never even met the man.
At 11:15 last night, Mr. Chan here said he heard Mr. Royce beg you not to shoot him. Any explanation?
None. But I tell you, I was in Claire Harris's apartment most of the evening.
Can you fix the time?
I left just before midnight. Got to her place round about 9:30.
Any reason for the visit?
We'd had a quarrel. She threatened me. I was worried. I wanted to straighten it out. Look, why don't you ask her?
All right.
All right, miss.
Johnny, you all right?
Miss Harris, were you with Mr. Douglas last night?
Last night? No, Inspector.
But I came up to your place around 9:30, don't you remember?
That was the night before. We had quite an argument and you left. Why, Mr. Chan came in almost immediately afterwards. Don't you remember Mr. Chan? You just missed him?
What are you trying to do? Hang me?
Have I said something wrong?
You liar!
All right, take him down. Sorry about that.
It's not your fault. I should have known. He's often violent. May I go now?
Yes. But I shall want you again. Keep in touch with this office, please.
Of course, Inspector. And if there's anything I can do for Johnny, please call me.
Well, Mr. Chan, are you convinced
Yes, Inspector, I am quite convinced.
that he killed Royce, huh?
Oh, no. Merely that with woman like that for friend, he has no need for enemies.
Oh, we'll check on her. Of course, she's got a bad record, but I think you'll find...
Inspector, permit unworthy self to offer suggestion. Murder was committed late at night, Did no one here splash in water tank below window when killer made escape?
That window's 4 stories high. Are you serious?
Yes, Inspector.
Right, look here, Mr. Chan.
Forgive me, Inspector. Must make further investigation.
Sure, that's it. What an idiot. I was not to think of it before.
Oh, careful. Must not damage delicate brain.
I tell you, Pop, I got the whole thing figured out. Johnny did not kill Royce.
No?
No, Claire Harris did. It was all a frame.
Excellent theory, but I heard him accuse Douglas.
You think you did. What you heard was a recording. Royce was already dead when you got that call. She probably hired an actor to do it. The whole thing was staged for your benefit. I bet she has a recorder. I'll just have to get in her apartment and get that tape.
I do not approve of housebreaking as suitable training for future criminologists.
Oh, but you don't dig me, Pop. I intend to do this strictly legal. Suppose I drop in on Miss Harris with a couple bottles of champagne. This should prove quite interesting.
Oh, one moment, please. Word of advice from ancient traveler. Bubbly champagne. Very, very sneaky. Suggest only lady do drinking, huh?
Why, that's wonderful. Simply wonderful. I just can't get over it. You mean you assist your father on all his cases?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't make a move without me.
That's very, very interesting.
Say, by the way, do you want to hear how I solved our last case? Well, there was this man at... holy smokes. I forgot something. Do you have a recorder around?
I think no home should be without one.
I'll show you how I caught this character.
Miss Harris, room 212. There's a strange-looking object on the floor of my room. I'd like it removed immediately.
Pop, how much longer is it gonna be?
To learn what is good, 1,000 days are not enough. To learn what is evil, 1 hour is more than enough.
Yeah, but I got a sore head.
Very excellent lesson for number 1 son. If you are not sailor, do not use boat hook.
You're right. Several of the people heard a splash almost immediately after the shot. But why? A 4th floor window into a 6-foot square water tank. What made you think?
Broken plaster beneath window happened during hasty exit.
I don't suppose you could tell me where I could find the killer.
Oh, yes. In water tank below.
Believe me, Miss Royce, I'm sorry to trouble you, but there are just 1 or 2 things we'd like to clear up.
Can't you leave me alone, Inspector? I've told you everything I know.
But we have not told you everything we know, Miss Royce. Your father was a brilliant actor, enjoyed playing many parts. But 1 part was not acted. His feeling for you. He loved you very much.
That's not true. How can you say that?
He was afraid Mr. Douglas was very bad for you. And he would do anything to prevent your sorrow, even to sacrificing own life. Yes, your father killed himself. Mr. Royce was alone when he died. He telephoned me trying to incriminate Mr. Douglas, then shot himself.
But the weapon, there was no gun.
After death, man gives up everything he holds. Even gun that destroyed him. Number 1 son will please go outside, wait under window for falling weapon.
Yes, Pop.
Mr. Royce attached a very heavy object to gun, such as this. Underneath Mr. Royce's window was large, open water tank. He had hoped the gun would fall into same, being undiscovered forever, and thereby Mr. Douglas would be convicted of the crime. Now ready for demonstration. Similar mark on Mr. Royce's wall provided first clue.
All these years I've misjudged him. Well, he made a terrible mistake, Mr. Chan.
No actor, no matter how great, should ever try to play part of destiny. But I think Inspector has a surprise for you also.
Sergeant?
This way, sir. No.
Gee, Pop, what you do that for?
No instructions to catch weapon on top of head. However, any sign of originality in number 1 son arouses deep pride in affectionate parent.